Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So today I want to talk to you guys about a new topic. Today I want to talk to you guys about the title of this video. And the title of this video is why we should be selecting our own men in 2020. Now, it's like a hard topic because the way that tradition is, it says that a man should approach a woman if he's interested in her, and the woman should wait to be approached. So, for example, if you're in a nightclub and you like a guy and you think this guy might be for you, by the laws of tradition, a woman cannot approach a guy, and you can make eyes at him, or you can be like, hey, but you cannot do the approaching, which I think is very outdated. And the man is able to scour a whole room and look out and pick any woman that he likes and move to her. That's great for them. But what about us? What about us, ladies? Women, what happens is, this is what actually happens. You go out clubbing with your girls, right, every single month, for 4 months in a row. Every time you go out, someone approaches you that, number one, is not your type. Number two, you didn't even think was possible that he would come over to you, because he didn't make any sort of eye contact or anything, or no gesture, or you didn't see it come in at all. And then number three, you have nothing in common with. Absolutely nothing in common with them. As soon as you start speaking to them, you think, right, I've got nothing in common, not my type, like you to go away. You get a bunch out of the bunch of guys. So say if you go out on one night out and say 4 guys approach you, out of those 4 guys, none of them is really your type at all, and none of them is someone that you selected for yourself. You're just getting the ones that have just been brave enough to come over to you, right? So the ones that have not been brave enough to you is usually the ones that you like. And I'm not being funny, ladies, but see if you can relate to me on this. Have you not ever been to a club before and the guy that you like is the friend of the guy that's come over to you? Do you know what I'm saying? Guy comes over to you, Mike, Mike's come over. He's like, you right, sweet cheeks, I've never seen you falling from heaven, darling, darling. And you're like, God, this is what's come up to me. Out of all these guys in here, this is what's come up to me. So then that guy comes up to you, and then you look over and he's like, yeah, I'm just here with my friends. You're like, oh, who are you here with? You look over, his friends all look buff. And then the guy that you do like, he's there. So out of all the guys that moved to you that night, so say on that night, 4 guys moved to you. Out of that, you just get a bunch of people that come over to you, but none of them's really your type. None of them is really what you want. And the reason for that, you end up then selecting 1 out of the 4 that just tends to be somewhat of your type. So then what we end up doing is, out of the 4 guys that have moved to you that day, you end up compromising on your actual type. And personally, I don't think that's good enough. I feel like in 2020 we should just pick who we want to be with. We should just pick who we want to date, and we should just approach any guy that we want to approach. We're confident women. We are meant to be equals on the planet, and by now we should be able to select our own men this year. Have you ever had that experience before, where you've gone to a club and a guy has talked to you, and he comes over and he speaks to you and he goes, there's my friend over there, this is my friends. You think, oh, out of all the friends, this is the one I don't fancy, the one that's come over to me, and all the ones I fancy are right over there. Have you ever wondered why that might be, girls? Have you ever wondered why? Because of the fear of rejection. Basically, it's just the fear of rejection. They don't want to be rejected. They're not in the mood that day. Some of them say things like, I just want to chill. I'm not really here for the gal. I'm here for the man dem. And them things there, that's not true. That's not true. And this is the way it's always been. Men are the active ones and women are the passive ones. But in this day, we're meant to be equal. We're meant to be doing things like men are doing. We should be able to approach a guy that we want to approach. And it happens on all forums. It's not just in person. I think in person it's a bit more genuine, because in person you can just go up to someone, start a conversation, and at the end of it you could ask for their number, their IG, or you can literally invite them out on a date. And I don't think there's anything really wrong with that. A lot of women are like, no, I'm not going to ask a guy on a date. I want to be asked. I like to be asked. And I think that's absolutely fine as well. But I feel like, I think a lot of us, we've got a lot of high expectations. And, you know, sometimes we actually end up dating a guy. We go on a date and stuff, but we're not really into them. So I feel like to avoid that, like for you actually wanting to like the guy that you're talking to, you would need to actually select somebody that you actually want and you actually like and you know that you like, because we're not actually getting an active choice as to who we are talking to. Now, a lot of you are going to be thinking like, how do we approach guys in 2020? How would you do that? And it is hard because I know a lot of the time you get these chat up lines and all these things. But you know what? Human to human is very genuine. Just introduce yourself. There are misconceptions with women. Unfortunately, there is still a double standard with men and women. If a woman, I think, was ever to, for example, move to a guy who had a girlfriend, you didn't know they had a girlfriend, and you spoke to them. Say, for example, you're in a club, right, and you started talking to a guy, and he was like, "Hey, how are you? You right? Having a good night? How you doing?" If that girlfriend came over and saw you, she would be like, "Oh, she's a tramp. Like, she's so desperate. She's over here picking men and selecting, talking to my boyfriend." Number one, that's another thing we'll be scared of. We'll be scared of getting beat down by someone's girlfriend. Whereas right now, if a guy moved to a girl with a boyfriend, it would just be a simple matter of the guy would come over and go, "Oh, this is my girl," and then he would be like, "Oh, sorry." But if that was a girl, it would be a whole drama. It would be like, "You're a tramp. You're talking to my man. Blah 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 blah. You're so desperate." When actually, why is it like that? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like that. It should be very simple as to, if somebody likes someone, they should be able to go over and have a conversation with them, and find out if they're single or not single. Why is it like that? The other thing is looking desperate. A lot of women will say, "I'm going to look desperate if I go over and talk to this guy." And it definitely shouldn't be that way. At the end of the day, so why do we not say then, if a guy goes over to someone and says no, when you say a stern no, "Can I have your number?" No, 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 in every language, that's not desperate. But one girl going over to a guy saying something like, "Oh, can I, I just want to talk to you, whatever, can I have I try to have a conversation with them," for some reason you're desperate. How does that work out? You just need to be brave enough to do it, and I think we should just give it a try. Let me know your thoughts on this. It's more like a little chit chat, little catch up anyway. Let me know your thoughts on this, if you'd ever actually move to a guy or not, if you've actually approached a guy or not, or whether you're the kind of girl who would rather just be approached and take the risk of hopefully getting the type that you like.